Well, thank you very much for coming out here tonight, and it's deeply appreciated. And I am always humbled whenever we hold an event like this, and so many people show up, and to be able to have a chance to be able to hear about the ministry and hear about the things that the Lord's been doing through our lives. I just want to start tonight by just giving you a brief overview of Doulos Ministries, first of all. And the reason I want to do that is because sometimes people have an idea of who it is that I'm working with, but don't really understand who the group is that I'm working with. And so let me explain it a little bit more. Back in 2001, and that we had been discussing, I'd been on staff with a group called Young Life at that point for quite a number of years, and we had been discussing ways for me to be able to work in the Ottawa area, specifically with youth pastors and with young leaders, to start doing more mentoring, coaching, and discipleship. As a matter of fact, it was my good friend Scott Ivey, who's sitting in the back there, and he was the one who took me aside one day after one of our meetings, and he looked at me and he said, "When are you going to stop working in the trenches and start training the people who can do what you do basically on a multiple level?" And I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. And yet I started thinking about what he said, and I realized the importance of it. And that was that we really didn't have people in the Ottawa area who made it their full-time job to come alongside young leaders, young youth pastors, be able to network them together, and then also to be able to help them to be able to understand God's calling upon their life, what that calling is, how to be able to live out that calling, and how to be able to reach out to the youth in the greater Ottawa area. And so Doulos Ministries was birthed from that. And we call it Doulos Ministries because doulos is the Greek word for servant, which means one who comes alongside. Actually, at the core definition, the word is slave. I like the word come alongside. It just always appealed to me a little bit more. And but Doulos Ministries, we decided to call it that because we realized two things. Number one, we wanted to come alongside that which already exists. And the second thing is, we did not want to create something that would be doulos. And so the amazing thing about it is that we've been in the Ottawa area now operating for about 14 years. And if you went and asked people, have you heard of Doulos Ministries, the majority of people would say no. If you asked them, do you know Paul Racine or Shawn, they would say, oh yeah! And I consider that a success. I consider that an absolute success because we accomplished one of our primary goals. And that was, we're not trying to create something that is recognizable as being doulos. In other words, doulos does this. But rather, we come alongside that which exists already, and we try to help it to become everything that it's supposed to be, that God has called them to be able to be. And so as a result, we don't have things that are called doulos. And that. As a matter of fact, Shawn and I remembered a moment not too long ago. It was, actually, it was a few years ago now. But we were sitting in a meeting, and we were going around a big table full of pastors from around the region, and they were all introducing ourselves. And they came up to me, and I said, Paul Racine here with Doulos Ministries in the Ottawa area. And I went to say something else, and one of the fellows said, "Who do you work for?" And I said, Doulos Ministries. I said, doulos, the Greek word for servant. And the guy beside me went, "Oh," he said, "I thought you said do less ministries." He said, I was thinking, wow, how can I become a part of that? And so, but the primary purpose that we have seen over the years is to come alongside to be able to offer strength, encouragement, and comfort. And to be able to help people to understand the vision and the calling that God has upon their lives. And then to be able to figure out ways that we can partner with them, not just ourselves, but through our network, get other people to partner with them so that we can be able to see these events become everything that they're meant to be. And so, one of the great things that took place in the last couple of years, and that is that Shawn came on staff with us, with Doulos, and we've been just thrilled to be able to have him and his family to be able to join us in the ministry. It has been particularly great because Shawn has a real heart for the region. And so that has freed me up to be able to focus on some of the bigger projects that we're involved in, but also at the same time continue with some of the mentoring that I'm involved in, but also then to spend more time doing the things that we've been called to do up in northern Quebec. And you're going to get an opportunity to be able to hear some firsthand things about that tonight as well. I am thrilled at the fact that Shawn came alongside. He compliments me in the fact that he has strengths that I do not have. And he has a desire to be able to do things that I'm able to just unleash him in, and he's able to be able to accomplish that. I'm going to have Shawn come up and share, but before he does, I have something. He doesn't know I'm going to do this. He knew I was going to do all the preliminary stuff here. He doesn't know I'm going to do this. But I have a short letter that was just sent to me, and I'm just going to read this out tonight because it basically is just, well, it's a thank you to both Shawn and myself, but it's especially about Shawn. And it is from, well, his letterhead says, Reverend Joey Malloy, youth pastor at the Metropolitan Bible Church. We just call him Joey. But he sent this to me tonight to be able to be read out. He wanted to be here but was unable to be here. And so he asked me to do this. He said, as a youth pastor in Ottawa since 2002, it has been a real privilege to serve alongside Paul Racine and Shawn Beach. In all the years and all the projects we've worked on, Rock the River, Rock the Capital, No Other Name, Exousia Network, even having them speak at retreats, I have never once sensed any kind of self or doulos promotion. It has always been supporting the local youth ministries, and believe me, we need the support. I recall the most difficult time in my life a few years ago, when my dad suddenly died unexpectedly. Amidst all the shock and emotion, I remember quite vividly 2 intentional conversations, one with Paul and one with Shawn, that really encouraged me, and they didn't ask for anything in return. I have particularly enjoyed the sincere, hard-working relationship that has developed over the years with Shawn. It was a natural transition to see him join Paul officially at Doulos. Quite frankly, Rock the Capital this year would not have happened, and that without the tireless effort of Shawn. He did grunt work that no one else wanted to do, and he did it well, without complaint. That speaks to his character. I pray for Shawn and Paul as they labor on. I pray that God will lay it on the heart of many to support them and their families as they serve so faithfully. I pray they will have wisdom as to how to best use their time and whom specifically they should be investing in. I have no trouble investing and endorsing the efforts of Shawn Beach and Paul, and congratulate them for accomplishing something here in Ottawa that most cities around the country can only dream of. And so Joy asked me that I would read this out tonight, and so I promised him I would, and that I think he wanted to come, crash the party, and read it anyway by himself. So Shawn, come on up, buddy, and share the things that God has placed upon your heart and been happening around the region.
Wow, that was awesome. Thanks for reading that. Thanks, and thanks everyone for being here. We are setting out on another year. It's coming up. Now, when I share on our dessert nights, I like to start off with the family picture because those who are around me make me look better. So this is from last year, and now you can see how our 3 kids have grown. I just do it for that reaction too. I know it's not about me. So my wife and I, Katrina and Shawn, our oldest is 6 years old, Madalena. We call her Maddie. We have Evan, who just turned 3, and Abigail, who's 1 year and a half, 1.5 years old. So a wonderful family, and this is the family that God is using. Katrina is a fantastic, fabulous wife who supports me in the ministry, and in so many ways. In what I do in Ottawa, I grew up in the town of Arnprior, and so yeah, I do have a real passion and a desire to see youth ministry working as most powerfully as possible in the area. So as we gather together on a monthly basis with the Exousia Network, all of the regional youth workers coming together, praying, talking, networking, gathering together for the purpose of being together, being united in heart and mind, and enjoying each other's company, hearing each other's sorrows at times, and working through things. And after that, going for coffee or for lunch with a few people and enjoying the time together. So that's the larger group setting for the youth workers that I have the privilege of working with. I'm also involved quite a bit with the Canada Youth Network. This is their Facebook page. There's about 10 of us that get together once a month also. And the health that comes out of those meetings. Sometimes we come in with an agenda and just put it to the side and talk about what's going on in the church, in one person's church or one person's family. We encourage each other and love on each other, and the relationships, the depths of relationships, and the depth of the laughter that we have over the similar things that we find funny in ministry and in life. We just had 2 people transition out of Canada, one going as a missionary over to Spain, and another one leaving. I'm not sure why they're all leaving Ottawa, Canada, but another one going over to the UK. And we miss them when they're gone, because we know who they are. There are other churches in the city of Ottawa that they don't know who their neighboring churches are. They don't know who's working with the youth just down the road. And so part of my passion is to see that not happen anymore. Having a united front as the youth pastors really are, the youth workers really are feeling sometimes like they're in the trenches with the teenagers and what we're up against in our society as we try and draw these kids into the Lord and teach them about Him. One of the 2 events that I'm heavily involved with and really enjoy is No Other Name. And that is on Good Friday. It is an annual, is this the 8th? I always get the numbers mixed up. It's the 9th year that we've been doing it. And when we get together, the kids have fun. They enjoy their time together, playing all these different sports. But then it's not just an event. We gather together with the students not knowing who the band is going to be or the speaker or even any of the events, the fun stuff that's going to go on. They might know about the dodgeball tournament because that's an annual tradition, but they really don't know what they're coming to other than we're going to hear about Jesus today. We're going to hear about what He did on the cross for us. We're going to honor Him. We're going to love Him together. And to see 800 students coming together, students and leaders, and worshiping God together in one auditorium, led by the Spirit, is an amazing thing, and something that I definitely want to be part of, seeing some of the students praying together afterwards, making a commitment of one sort or another to God, and to their youth group maybe, and it all depends on what the talk was on. And I have the privilege of working with Rock the Capital. So we've just had our 3rd Rock the Capital, formerly known as Rock the River. And this year, as we got together at the Life Center, we had an amazing time. So you may recall that the first year in 2012, the Billy Graham Association came in. There was a big draw with them coming back to town after 14 or 18 years or whatever it was that they weren't in between visits with our nation's capital. And so we are no longer associated legally or financially or anything with the Billy Graham Association after 2012. 2013 and this year, 2014, it's been the Ottawa team putting this together, working together, a core group of us, leading team members. I had the privilege of working with the counselors. We had over 50 counselors getting involved, wanting to help lead kids, lead students, lead leaders to Christ, lead adults to Christ, whoever came forward at the event. And we sold tickets this year. There's 1,500 tickets sold for $10 or $15. And people came out. It was a wonderful day. Maybe some of you were there also. A wonderful, warm, summery day on September the 27th. Not summertime, but God provided the perfect outdoor weather for us, perfect church to host us, and God was honored that day. And 68 people came forward to make a decision for Christ. What an amazing thing to be part of. Now, I never knew before how someone could spend so much of a year preparing for a one-day event. But part of it is getting people together. Part of it is the entertainment. Part of it is seeing the bands coming together, the poster that was there. I'm just flipping through these quickly because it's not about the band, but it's a rock show. It's fun to be at. It's fun to jump around and go in. But the things that I'm putting in my photo album in my mind is, in this picture you see a gentleman right here. He comes from a church in Bell's Corners, a Tamil church that got involved for the first time this year. And I can remember going over and talking to him. He was one of the volunteers. He and actually the whole group that came, there's 5 or 6 of them that came from a smaller church. and they wanted to volunteer. They didn't want to just enjoy the time, they wanted to see what it was really like. And we put them up at the stage and in with all the other people, and the whole afternoon and evening, he was wide-eyed, taking it all in, and I stepped over and asked him, what do you think, and how are you enjoying the day? And he says, I've never seen anything like this. And when the people started coming forward to receive Christ, there's just that wonderful facial expression of seeing God at work. And the church is so happy that things are going on like this. And it's about the students coming forward. It's about Danny presenting the gospel message in a way that students can understand. And they came forward, they heard it. And I'm sure that there's more students that heard it, understood it, perhaps made a decision just on their own and didn't want to go forward, a little bit too shy or what have you. But the impact that this event can have on our student body in the city of Ottawa and surrounding area. There was youth groups that came from Pembroke and Cornwall and a bunch of different places. It's such a privilege and an honor to be involved in these things. But one of the things that gets me even more excited, or maybe not more, but very excited as well, was the poster that was made up. It was made up by a student, a female student that I've never met before, our team had never met before. We sent out an invitation for helpers on different items. We sent that invite, plea for help to the local churches, and this girl said, I can do it, and she took all the information and came up with this fantastic poster for us. And on our website, this was a video that played. It was done by a student who's in Algonquin College, and he did just a superb job on it, a 2-minute video that if you go on the rockthecapital.ca website and take a look at that video, it's really well done, and he really enjoyed it. And so that's my passion, seeing these students and former students, young men, young women, reaching their potential that God has given them, built into them, seeing them acknowledge it, understand it, and use it for the kingdom. This is the family that God has provided, and the ministry that He's called me to, and I'm so happy to be involved. If at the end of our evening you'd like to come back to the back table and talk with me, I'd love to have a little conversation with you. There's some prayer card, I'm calling them prayer cards, just our pictures. I'd love to hand you one, or you can just take one and pray for us throughout the year. I'd love to have you do that for us. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being here this evening.
Thanks, Shawn. The one thing that I want to add towards what Shawn presented and stuff tonight too, and that is that one of the most amazing things about Rock the Capital, and that is that it is entirely run by pastors and youth leaders here in the Greater Ottawa region. The fascinating thing about it was that when we first told the Billy Graham Association, when we negotiated with them about coming in here to Ottawa again after 14 years, et cetera, and then we said to them, if you come in, we really want you to understand something. We want to be able to shadow you, learn everything we can from you, and because we're going to do it on our own. And they blinked at us. They honestly did. They blinked at us and they said, sure. And they never believed it. I don't think they honestly ever believed it, because they heard other people tell them that, and nobody had ever done it. And now that we just did it for the third time, they're looking at us saying, do you know that we have communities all around the United States and Canada now asking us, so how do these guys do it? How do they do it? Well, one of the most amazing things about Doulos is, like I said, it is not there in order to be able to exist for itself, but rather we exist in order to be able to help other people to be able to follow their vision, to be able to do the things that God has called them to do. We don't do it. And that's the one thing I want you to be able to truly be able to appreciate here tonight. And maybe that's not a great sell when you're trying to promote your organization or your ministry, but it's not us doing it. We come alongside some unbelievably great people who already have the burden and the passion and the vision placed upon their own hearts by God. And we come alongside with them and say to them, how can we help you see this come to be a reality? How can we help you to be able to see what it is that God has placed upon your heart really happen? And so we have unbelievable privileges. And that Shawn and I get the privilege of being able to work with some amazing pastors and some amazing leaders on both Rock the Capital and on the Know the Name thing. And it's exciting to be able to see this young generation coming up, Shawn included amongst that, and that who are just excited about trying to do things like this. And the most amazing thing about it is it's only when I find people either come new to the Ottawa region or they leave the Ottawa region, as pastors, as leaders who've been involved with us. And suddenly they say to me, they say, Paul, can't believe what we do in Ottawa. And as a matter of fact, it just isn't happening anywhere else. But it's not Doulos. Doulos isn't doing that. This is a response in the heart of God, from the heart of God to the hearts of the youth leaders as they picked up this thing. One of the things that Joy Malloy has always emphasized with us is John chapter 17, and particularly the verse, verse 21, which basically Jesus is praying for his people. And he says, I pray not only for those who believe in me now, but also for those who will believe in me because they do. In other words, he was praying for us. And then he says the most amazing thing, and when they come together, Father, as we are one, then my name will truly be lifted up. And what we understand that to mean is that the gospel then will truly go forward with power. And so Joy Malloy constantly is bringing that forward to us. And I think that it's something that burns within the hearts of each one of us. That, you know, if we're going to see great things happen in this region, if we're going to see great things take place, then we're really going to have to work as one. And that is one of the beautiful things that we get to do at Doulos, and that is that we get to cross denominational lines.